Well, hi there. My name is Mitch Schneider. I am a kinesthetic learner and an almost exclusively visual person, and I need help. Ask Lesley, and she'll tell you that. Um, it is Monday, September the 23rd, 2019. This is journal number 177, T+174, getting closer and closer to the 6 month mark, which is really exciting for me. Uh, but getting back to kinesthetic learning and being a visual person, uh, I'm not going to say that it's a curse, but I could. And I'm not, I'm not sure why it's a curse that impacts other people as well as me. But if you ask Lesley, she would tell you, um, or she would ask you rather, what she did to deserve this. If you look over my shoulder at Lesley's desk, you can see um, how perfectly organized it is, much to my chagrin. If I showed you a picture of my desk, which I'm not going to do because I can't deal with the embarrassment, it looks like chaos on a table. The mess is everybody else's perception of the mess is chaotic. You want to know if anybody was hurt when the bomb went off. However, I know where everything is. I understand where everything is. I know what each component on the desk is and what it relates to, which project it's dedicated to. Um, and if somebody moves something, which Leslie does once a week, um, like clockwork, I go nuts trying to put it back the way it was so that I can find the stuff that I no longer know exists. And that's what happens. It just disappears out of sight, out of mind. So if you're a visual person, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Some of us are afflicted with worse cases than others. I'm one of those people that's, you know, probably got grand mal visualitis. I have no idea. It's really terrible. And I'll tell you a couple of really funny stories about that. The first story has to do with the last vacation that we took. Now, we had been planning that trip for quite some time. We'd been saving for it for a long time. We'd been sacrificing for it for a long time. We were going to go with a couple that we're dear friends with and we've traveled with before, and they're a lot of fun to be with. And it got really testy towards the closer we got to getting ready to leave on that trip. It was going to be the longest trip we've ever taken, by the way. So it was kind of a gutsy thing to do, considering the shape I was in. But we asked the doctor, and the doctor said that we could go ultimately. Now, you have to appreciate the fact that there was a period of time, a few weeks before that, when it was very, very likely that we wouldn't be able to go because they thought that because of the way the blood work numbers were coming back, um, I had contracted adult onset leukemia, type A leukemia, I think they said. And that would have meant that I would have had to start treatment for that as well as a primary myelofibrosis almost instantly, almost immediately. And the trip would not have been a possibility. Sidebar, okay? Important sidebar, buy trip insurance. If you're going to take a long vacation, if you're going to go ahead and make plans to take a wonderful trip, and it's going to be expensive, it's going to take you away for a while, make sure you have trip insurance. We were ready, we were actually contacting our travel agent to make arrangements to redeem the travel insurance because I wouldn't be able to go on the trip when we found out that I could. Now, I have I carry a large wallet. It's kind of thick, and I carry it in my front right pants pocket. I don't carry it in one of my back pockets. It's too easy for somebody else to get in there. And I usually have my right hand hooked into that pocket. So I went out knowing that we were going to go traveling and that we would be away. And I didn't need all the stuff that I have in my regular wallet, the wallet that I carry all the time. So I got, as a matter of fact, I happen to have it here. I happened to get this, which is the insert for an actual larger wallet, and they sold it separately. And this is what I took with me, and it was a wonderful idea because, as you can see, it just disappears. Even when it's got stuff in it, it disappears. I apologize for the slamming door. That was all great. We went on the trip. We came back. Everything was wonderful. And I was looking for some of the things that I keep in my larger wallet, and it was nowhere to be found. I could not find it anywhere. Now, I'm really good about systems being in place for putting stuff in the same place all the time so I know where to find it. Because as I said, if I don't see it, if it's not out, it doesn't exist. I couldn't find it. Now you have to appreciate the fact that we took this trip in October of last year. Um, couldn't find the wallet anywhere. I looked everywhere that it could conceivably be. I took my desk apart, looked inside every drawer, every pullout. Took my filing cabinets apart, took everything that I could apart so that I could find this, and was unsuccessful throughout. Couldn't find it anywhere. Finally, the other day, the other day, we were going out. We were going out in the evening, so I didn't have to wear one of my big floppy hats. So I grabbed my Grumpy's. If you've ever been to Disney World or Disneyland, once upon a time in in California Adventure out here in California, they had Grumpy's Garage, and I got a Grumpy's Garage shirt and I got a Grumpy Garage's hat because my kids told me that there are times when I fit the description. So I went to grab the Grumpy Garage hat. Lesley says, "You're not going out wearing that hat. It's stained. Put it back." So I put it back. Now I got a hat rack with probably 8 or 10 other baseball caps, from different places, logoed caps uh, on it. I could have picked up any one of the other 7 caps that were there. I actually went to take a different one and then reached out and grabbed my Arizona Wildcat hat. And there inside the hat, hanging on the wall all the time that I was tearing the house apart, was my wallet. That's not the other part of the problem. The other part of the problem is keys. I lose keys all over the place. I lose them all the time. They tell me that that's a sign of authority and responsibility rejection. I'm thinking that that's probably right. Today, just before I sat down to do this blog and video, I couldn't find my hat. Now I have 2 floppy hats, 2 hot hats for when I'm outside in the sunlight. I can't be outside in the sunlight unless I'm completely covered. That's why, even though it's close to 100 degrees today, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. You'll have to excuse me. That's why I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt. I have to wear a big floppy hat. I have to literally immerse myself in sunblock. And I have 2 of these hats. One of them is a big floppy gardener style hat that's got a flap in the back to protect your neck from the sunlight. And the other one's my Indiana Jones hat. I have 2 masks. I have a Space Invaders mask, which makes me smile when I wear it. You can't tell because it's under the mask. And I have a Darth Vader mask. I have a black mask that's got 2 vents in it. I had what my wife refers to lovingly as the gardener's hat today because we walked 3 miles this morning. And I had the black mask because that's what I used. But I needed the Space Invaders mask because I needed to go out for something, and I needed the other hat for a number of different reasons. One of which was that even though we finished walking just before 10 o'clock when I turn into a pumpkin, if I stay out in the sun after 10, from 10 to 4, I, unlike some people who perspire, I sweat. So both the mask and the hat were in need of drying out. Couldn't find that anywhere. Looked through the desk. I looked through every room it could be in. I looked in both cars. Finally found it. It's hard to describe really because as you walk through the house, as you walk into the house, there's a living room that you walk directly into, more or less a formal living room. Um, and there's a chair with its back to the hallway. So you can't really see what's on the other side of the chair. And there, quite by accident, just before I sat down to do the blog, I found the hat and I found the Space Invaders mask. So if you're like me and you need to take things apart and see them and feel them and touch them to fix it, or you're like me and you have to have something in front of you for it to exist, recognizing that if it isn't right there in front of you, it doesn't exist, um, you have my deepest sympathies. Uh, what I can tell you and what I will recommend is that you build systems to and processes to ensure that whatever it is that you need, especially the more critical things, are where you need them to be so that they'll be there consistently. While you're thinking about that, I'm going to go ahead and rearrange my desk and start to put some of this stuff away because now I'm really embarrassed about it. So stay well, take care. Talk to you tomorrow.